All right, section 4. Okay, so the title of this section is The New Deal Changed the Role of Government. There are some key things that I'm going to talk about in this. You've got to be listening. Definitely a test question or two. First off, as we talked about in part 1, the Supreme Court had been problems for the New Deal. There were quite a few things that the Supreme Court said was unconstitutional. It didn't work. So the Supreme Court and Roosevelt didn't necessarily see eye to eye. Well, Roosevelt was afraid that the Supreme Court would strike down more. So he made a proposal. He proposed a bill called the Judiciary Reorganization Bill, and he's going to propose this to Congress. Basically, what it says is that he can appoint a justice for every justice over the age of 70 that doesn't retire, up to 15. There were a lot of justices that were in that age aspect. Here's the thing. The Constitution doesn't actually say we will have 9 justices. We have had 9 justices. It's got to be an odd number because an odd number, there's no tie. So you make it where there's no tie, it's because it's the top. Well, if he gets to add 6 more members to the Supreme Court, they were accusing him of packing it. He's going to put people that are like-minded, that think like him. This is not going to pass. It disrupts checks and balances as well as separation of powers. If he can add that many justices to the court, he controls the court. So that separation of powers no longer exists. This is kind of the one black mark on his presidency. The court packing plan did not pass. Congress said no because it would disrupt that separation of powers, that checks and balances. Moving on. The New Deal is going to slow down after 1937. We're going to have a bit of a dip in our economy. And part of that is we're going to have a little recession. We got a little overconfident and we start pulling things back really quick. He is going to ask for big spending. We're going to put it back out there. We're going to get it going again. But biggest reason for the decline is our government's starting to have a preoccupation. It is 1937 with some things that are going on in Europe, things that are going on in Japan, things that are going on in other places in the world. And we get a little overconfident with what's happening here. Now, overall, the New Deal had a very limited effect on minorities and women. You saw that in the video. There were some big steps, especially with Eleanor Roosevelt, who was way before her time. What a woman. Roosevelt did appoint some women, some minorities to positions. But the New Deal did endorse the belief that women should leave the workforce to open up jobs for men. A lot of the New Deal relief agencies excluded women. Social Security really made no provisions for predominantly female occupations. So there's definitely some aspect of where it's not really helping some of those that also really need help, leaving them out. But it does have a lasting effect on our institutions. It shapes society as we know it today. Established the trade union movement. Farm subsidies became the basis of permanent federal government in agricultural pricing and production. The government still will pay farmers not to farm part of their land. The crop rotation aspect to make sure you don't plant the same thing over and over again so we don't have a dust bowl. If you've ever driven out to West Texas, you might see fields that aren't being plowed at all. The government's paying them not to make sure that our supply stays good and that we don't overuse the land. The Social Security program, the foundation of the modern welfare state that we have, Social Security still existing today. And the New Deal overall helps break down the traditional views about what government should or should not do. the government from this point on will be involved in our lives. That laissez-faire aspect, for the most part, is now gone. The last slide is just a New Deal recap in song version. Let me know if you have questions.